Hey everybody, once again, no project this week. I'm really sorry about that. I actually had planned a bandsaw box because I've never done one of those before for this week, but my blade snapped on my bandsaw. So without a blade, I can't do a bandsaw box. So I'm just going to kind of go do an overview of my cherry darkening method that I talked about back in the wine episode. So basically, I left mine out for a couple of days, for a few hours on end. I didn't leave it out overnight or anything like that. I'd go out, let it sit in the sun for, 6 to 8 hours, and then bring it in. I did that for a couple of days. Now this isn't a perfect dark cherry color, that you're going to get from years and years of darkening. But it does make your cherry much darker than what it is right after it's fresh cut. So I've got a couple of photos for you that can explain or that show the difference from the last video, how light it was, to how dark it was after the sun, and then once I put my finish on how much darker it is, and you can really see how much darker it is once you put the finish on, and that wood grain just pops and it looks amazing for a short time. It's hard to darken cherry without using chemicals and all that kind of stuff, which you can. I'm just not a huge proponent of putting more chemicals on wood than I absolutely have to protect my wood. So let's get started. I'll show you a few things on what I did, and let me know what you think. Okay, for my finishing for this, I'm just using the General Finishes Armor Seal. This is satin. And I'll start with my bottom and then work on my way onto the top. You can already start to see that beautiful color of that cherry start to come out. I love cherry, especially once it gets nice and dark. The grain just pops. Now, if I wouldn't have put this out in the sun, it would have been much lighter. It would have taken quite a while, especially with a finish over it, to darken up. So basically, with darkening it with the sun, I sped up my darkening process much quicker. Now, it's still not a great real dark cherry color, because that does take a lot of time. So you can experiment with it and see what color cherry you want to get, but this will darken over time. Unfortunately, I don't have that much time since this is a commission piece, and I want to get this off to my buddy, but this will become a real nice color after a couple of years. And you do want to put a nice helping of finish in this in these holes, because this is kind of end grain in some spots. Some spots of it, it is long grain, but some spots you do have some end grain. So you will get kind of a different finish on the inside of those. So put a nice helping of finish on the inside. Shouldn't have done this top first. Keep touching it. My stupid dog's barking. And all right, so there you go. Now I'll put a few more coats on, sanding in between, probably with some 600 grit in between, and that'll give me a nice smooth satiny finish. All right, I just wanted to show you the kind of the difference. Obviously, this is the piece here that's been darkened, and it's got one coat of finish on it. On my test board here, I've got no finish with finish. Now, this piece was not exposed to the sunlight, so you can kind of see how light it is compared to Well, if I can get a good picture there. This is the side without any finish on it. It's nice and light compared to the other piece. And then one coat of finish and the piece. So you can see it darkens it up quite a bit. Now you can experiment with your times and do more times. Mine probably totaled roughly probably no more than 20 hours altogether out in the sunlight. So if you want to leave it out longer than that and try and get a darker finish, you know, experiment with it. Use some test pieces, and you can really start to experiment with it. So hope you guys liked this video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And I'll see y'all later.